When the holidays start to feel a bit repetitive, reach for a Sprite Winter Spiced Cranberry and put your twist on tradition. A bold cranberry and winter spice flavor fusion, Sprite Winter Spiced Cranberry is a refreshing way to shake things up this sipping season. And only for a limited time. Sprite. Obey your thirst.
Oh, Hilton stay, your beds are soft and cozy. No lumpy couch, no stiff futon, no shower line at crack of dawn. Oh, Hilton stay, a holiday you're saving.
When you want holiday comfort you can count on, it matters where you stay. This season, enjoy spacious, comfortable rooms and friendly service when you book with Hilton instead. Hilton for the stay.
Welcome to the Sportsman's Voice Roundup, your weekly look at conservation and sporting community news happening across the nation and on the Hill. Thanks for tuning in. This is the TSV Roundup. Welcome to this year-end edition of the Sportsman's Voice Roundup. Thanks so much for tuning in. We're dropping this on Christmas Eve, and as acknowledged last week, we're not expecting you to listen to the whole thing. Do take your time with it. There's some good info coming to you, some really good articles. And like I said, if you're traveling to family, grandma's over the river through the woods kind of thing, and you got us downloaded, put an earbud in or put us on the car ride. I'm sure the kids will be thrilled to listen to this stuff, but maybe you will be. Again, end of year TSV. We got a lot to cover this week. We will not have any coverage, obviously, between now and the new year. Coming back hard swinging in 2026. But again, we'll hit the highlights here. Don't want to take up too much of your time rolling into the festivities here at the end of the year. But take your time with it. Enjoy, digest some of this stuff. Go back to the EPUB and check it out. So we'll hit it here. Let's get to it. Our lead story this week, we welcome in Bob Matthews here in a second. But Michigan has passed Hunter Ed in the schools. Both chambers heading to the governor's desk. Big deal there. One of our top 10 priorities here at CSF to get to a governor's desk. So we'll bring Bob in to cover that here in a minute. Some of the other headlines here: important habitat connectivity and human safety bill introed in the Senate. Fish and Wildlife Service issues CSF's supported review of the National Wildlife Refuge and Fish Hatcheries. Missouri Department of Conservation announces their 2026-27 season dates and a change in the management of CWD. North Carolina mandatory harvest reporting requirement now effective. As I said here at the top, we've got our NASC podcast coverage of this very program, so you can go onto the EPUB and check out all the lists of guests and their organizations. Oregon and Washington Natural Resource Committees hold their interim meeting. And we wrap things up with the U.S. Forest Service proposes forest restoration projects across the country. As I said here, we're going to be respectful of the listener, the audience, this time here, kind of give you the highlights, and we'll go from there. But before we do all that, let us welcome in Bob Matthews. We're talking about Hunter Ed. Let's go. All right. Let's welcome in Bob Matthews. As I teased at the top, we got some good updates out of Michigan on Hunter Ed. Bob, welcome to the show. Merry Christmas.
Thank you, Fred. Merry Christmas to you too. Yeah, really happy to report out of Michigan that something we've talked about on this podcast numerous times, and I've written about on the TSV numerous times. Getting a framework for hunter education to be taught in schools here in Michigan, counting both towards a credit towards graduation and the classroom portion of what you need to get your hunting license here in Michigan. That is now through the House, through the Senate, and is awaiting the signature of the governor.
That's
Um,
outstanding.
yeah, really exciting stuff. I know that you talked with one of the key players on that bill, Senator John Bumstead. He's co-chair here of the caucus in Michigan, and he's really been pushing this for a while. This has been a fight we've been fighting since back in 2023 when we first saw the language. CSF has been working with partners and the caucus at large just to continue hammering away at this. And I got a text from Senator Bumstead from the Senate floor on whatever day that was. If it was, I think it was maybe Wednesday night or Thursday night of last week that it passed. And yeah, he was overjoyed that it finally crossed the finish line, and we're just a signature away from this thing being done.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And as you said, did talk with the senator, tease that out a little bit in a forthcoming episode, feature episode of the Sportsman's Voice, referencing the NAS sessions. We sat down with Senator Bumstead and Deputy Director there at the DNR, Shannon Lott, talking about this very thing, um, hunting heritage, things like that, and what they're doing. And this was, he was very excited and motivated in our conversation. So audience can look forward to that conversation, finding out, where this all got to this point and Bob's work with everybody in the caucus. So, yeah, huge win. It's great. One of our top 10 priorities in 2025 for CSF. And then going into 2026, that doesn't stop and looking to create those opportunities where they do not exist throughout the country. Bob, it's an abbreviated show, so I'm not going to take up more of your time. Bob came in. He's already on vacation. He's already doing the Christmas family thing. And I just want to thank him for taking a little time out of vacation, coming in and report this outstanding news. It's worth coming in, and we appreciate his time. Bob, thank you so much. And again, Merry Christmas. We will see you in the new year.
Thanks, Fred. Merry Christmas to you. Merry Christmas to everybody listening.
All right. Thanks. All right. My thanks to Bob for his time once again. And congratulations on a great victory um, in the legislature. Now let's get the governor to sign it and we can celebrate in totality. All right. Let's hit the highlights on these stories brought to you at the top. Going back to important habitat connectivity and human safety bill that was introduced in the Senate last week. Senators Alsobrooks, Kramer, Merkley, and Curtis introduced the Wildlife Crossings Program Reauthorization Act, which is a bipartisan bill to help improve habitat connectivity for wildlife and human safety on our nation's roads, railways, and highways, a bill that is a top priority for CSF. Wildlife crossings in the form of overpasses, underpasses, along with fencing are proven tools to reduce human-wildlife vehicle collisions. And this was first authorized as a pilot program back in 2021. The Wildlife Crossings Program has seen an overwhelming demand and reauthorization of its program through the Wildlife Crossings Program Reauthorization Act, and it is necessary. It's a great program. You guys know I'm a fan of it, and we'll bring you continuing coverage of it going into the new year from Taylor. Up next, Fish and Wildlife Service issues CSF-supported review of the National Wildlife Refuge and fish hatcheries. Also, article from Taylor Smith. Again, telling you guys, super busy here towards the end of the year. Lost a report. Also, last week, U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service Director Brian Nesvik issued a comprehensive review of the National Wildlife Refuge System and the National Fish Hatchery System, a directive that is strongly supported by CSF. The NWRS and the NFHS are unmatched networks of federal public land that differ greatly than other systems of federal public land in that fish and wildlife are the focus. CSF believes that it is a valuable and necessary exercise to conduct a thorough review of both the wildlife refuge system and the fish hatchery system to better position these important units of land and water to meet their stated purpose and significant challenges. I would invite you as we go forward, look out for this one. We're talking about public lands with Taylor and some folks from Delta Waterfowl, Cyrus Baird, John Debney come on, and we get into this. We kind of unpack the refuge system at least, and get into the nitty gritty on that. And I think it's an issue most people outside the waterfowling community, especially, are kind of ignorant to, and not on purpose, but it's a bigger story to be told. So big issue there, and look out for that forthcoming NASC podcast talking about this very thing. Next up, we'll head to Missouri and touch on their 2026-27 seasons as well as new management of CWD. So highlights here from Kent Keene. The Missouri Conservation Commission recently gave initial approval to its season dates for deer and turkey hunters for the 2026-27 hunting seasons. Included in this announcement were several changes, including the removal of CWD management zone, the elimination of the CWD portion of the firearms deer season, and the statewide removal of antler point restrictions, among others. Later in the week, Missouri Department of Conservation Director Jason Sumners published an open letter announcing a pause on the department's targeted removal efforts, one of their tools to reduce populations to slow the spread of CWD. So, important news if you're a resident there in Missouri or if you're traveling to Missouri, planning your hunts, heads up there. Go check that article out from Kent. North Carolina, another requirement change here that is in effect. You need to know this for fishing. In 2023, North Carolina General Assembly passed House Bill 600, which required North Carolina Division of Marine Fisheries to develop commercial and non-commercial reporting requirements for certain fish harvests. Following the mandate from the legislature, the Division of Marine Fisheries worked with the North Carolina Wildlife Resources Commission to adopt temporary rules to implement mandatory harvest reporting. Effective December 1 of this year, so going back a few weeks, state law now requires recreational anglers to report their harvest of the following species. Here we go. Get ready to write these down if you're fishing in North Carolina. Red drum, flounder, spotted sea trout or speckled trout, striped bass, and weak fish, gray trout. Also effective as of the beginning of this month, commercial fishermen must report the harvest of all finfish, shellfish, and crustaceans, regardless of whether their harvests are sold commercially or kept for personal consumption. The harvest reporting requirements applies to all coastal fishing waters, joint fishing waters, and inland fishing waters adjacent to the coastal and joint fishing waters. A lot of information there, a lot to be accountable for. So if you're fishing down there, you be or up there, depending on where you live, down to me. But be cognizant of that. Be up to date. You don't want to get caught short. Again, check out the article from Connor. Get all the latest and greatest there. As I mentioned, this very show was at NASC. So I put together a list here for those that are interested in tuning in. We had 2 days, over 6+ hours of sound, and basically some of those. Well, we cover all sorts of stuff, but the quick hit list here is you're going to hear from Adam Putnam of Ducks Unlimited, Corey Mason of Wild Sheep Foundation, the Michigan DNR Deputy Director Shannon Lott, and Senator John Bumstead. As you heard at the top of the show with Bob talking about hunting heritage and hunter ed in the schools and what that's looked like. Just mentioned it, Delta Waterfowls, John Devney and Cyrus Baird team up with Taylor Schmitz to talk about public lands. Sat down with the Origins Foundation, Robbie Kroger. A lot of you remember him. The organization restructured Blood Oranges, now the Origins Foundation. Day 2 looks a little something like this, talking with Connor Bevins of ASA and Chris Horton about some live bait bans and then some federal policy update. We welcome in Kent Keene and Bob Matthews of CSF. We also had a Sunday hunting panel with folks from the Pennsylvania Game Commission, as well as Representative Mandy Steele, who championed the legislation to repeal Sunday hunting. Kaylee Leager from the Mid-Atlantic also joins us. Brett Miller, our Vice President of Policy, and Knox Williams of the American Suppressor Association join us as well. And you're going to hear a welcome message as well from our 2 host committees, Tennessee and Mississippi, Representative Scott Bounds and Representative Jesse Chisholm, both sitting on the Executive Council. Again, a lot of information, a lot of interviews, a lot of sound. We'll start rolling this stuff out in the new year. You can look forward to it. 2 more articles I want to bring to your attention here. Out in Oregon and Washington, the Natural Resources Committees have held their interim meetings. The Oregon Natural Resource Committee convened in mid-November and addressed issues such as wildlife recovery, agriculture, water use, and ungulate populations. Washington Agricultural and Natural Resources Committee met in early December to review governance options for the Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife following a recent Ruckelshaw Center organizational review. CSF attended these meetings and worked closely with our respective caucus members on upcoming sportsmen's policy and future educational events. That reporting from Marie Newmiller out there in the Northwest. And then finally, this from Forestry. U.S. Forest Service proposes forest restoration projects throughout the country. This month, December, U.S. Forest Service released scoping documents for forest restoration on national forests across the country, including California, Colorado, North Carolina, Tennessee, and Washington. The scoping notices and draft environmental assessment provide opportunities for public comment. National Environmental Policy Act projects can be tracked on National Forest Project specific planning pages and the scheduled proposed actions webpage. It is important that hunters and anglers participate in the public input process to ensure sportsmen's access and fish and wildlife habitat concerns are incorporated into the project's decision-making process, especially considering the national forests have traditionally fallen behind on meeting the wildlife habitat goals outlined in their respective forestry plans. So, again, inviting you to go check that article out, do a deeper dive. But lots, like I said, this week to cover, and always a good idea to go to the print editions, or at least the digital editions, on congressionalsportsman.org. You can sign up for the TSV EPUB, get it every Monday in your inbox about 5 o'clock Eastern. It's free, a free resource for you. All those in-article links for you to see, bill language, for you to see some of the bigger policy texts, let you do your own homework, do the deep dives. But, it's a hell of a resource, and quite frankly, we put a lot of work into it to make it available to you for free. So congressionalsportsman.org, head there to the media room and get the EPUB edition of this program and catch much more. So again, happy holidays to you. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Digest this program as well as our feature program dropping Friday. We're not going to drop it on Christmas. That wouldn't be fun. And no one would tune in. Probably you guys are all busy. Maybe somebody will tune in. But I say it in jest. We know the audience is dedicated. We appreciate your listenership and support throughout the year. But yeah, take the time between now and Christmas, now and New Year's, to check this stuff out. And it's going to be there as long as the lights are on. Thank you guys for tuning in all year long. Over 52 episodes of this program with some special drops throughout the year. We thank you for tuning in weekly. And golly days, 26 or so feature programs as well. All of this stuff is pretty much policy driven, and it's great to have the folks that tune in weekly, bi-weekly for these programs to educate. It's encouraging. So continue to share this stuff around in your circles. Make sure folks are subscribing and following and rating, hitting them 5 stars. Would love to go into 2026 with more of you firing on all cylinders, getting ready for ideally more successes in the new year. That's it. We'll leave it there. Quick show. Thanks for your time. As always, CSF is your inside connection to outdoor legislation. We'll see you in the new year. So long.
Thanks for joining us on this edition of the Sportsman's Voice podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, your support is crucial, and you can help us out right now by leaving a review, filling in those 5 stars where available, sharing this episode with friends and family, and engaging with us socially. CSF can be found on Facebook, Instagram, and X, formerly known as Twitter. Together, we can protect the outdoor sports we love and continue to keep you informed wherever you are. That's it for this week. Until next time, we'll see you later.
The holidays mean more travel, more shopping, more time online, and more personal info in more places that could expose you more to identity theft. But LifeLock monitors millions of data points per second. If your identity is stolen, our US-based restoration specialists will fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Don't face drained accounts, fraudulent loans, or financial losses alone. Get more holiday fun and less holiday worry with LifeLock. Save up to 40% your first year. Visit lifelock.com/podcast. Terms apply.